So hello and welcome to Ask Your Academic. Today we are joined by a number of programme leads and academics from our various programmes. We have a MSc Animal Welfare Science, Ethics and Law, MSc Conservation Management and African Ecosystems, MRes Ecology and Environmental Biology, MSc Epidemiology of Infectious Disease and Antimicrobial Resistance, and MSc Quantitative Methods in Biodiversity, Conservation and Epidemiology. We are expecting a number of academics to join us today. I'll introduce the ones that we've got on our panel just now, and throughout the call some additional colleagues may join us. So we have Dr Dominic McCafferty, we have Professor Dr Ruedi Nager, we have Dr Katarina Oracova, and we have Dr Grant Hopcraft. So thanks very much all of you for joining. Oh, we have we've got Professor Louise Matthews there joining us too. So today's session is being recorded, and that link will be sent in the next few days to you. So you'll be able to rewatch the session afterwards if there's anything you've missed or would like to re-listen to. We also have the chat function available on our call today. So if there is anything that you think of during today's session, please feel free to add that to the chat box and we'll try and answer that if we can. Yeah, and if after the session you have any further questions, you can contact the programme administrator, and I'll pop those details into the chat box for you so you have them. But the details are also available on the programme web pages on our website. So we are only a short session today, so I think we'll get started on our questions if that's okay. So our first question we have here is, what kind of computer, oh actually I'm just checking. I think we'll skip this question, just realising Roman's not quite joined the call yet. So Katarina, I'll come to yourself if that's okay. What does the process look like for the Term 3 project in terms of a topic and advisement?
Okay, so the Term 3 projects really run in the final semester in Term 3, but potential supervisors will be announcing projects earlier on, and so that happens typically during Term 2. So we have a database of projects, so this is for ADAR, but it's also for other programs within the Institute. So there will be a database of projects where you can and you should be able to identify the topic you are interested in and the supervisor that is offering this project. However, we also encourage our students to speak with their advisors of study. So every student will have an advisor of studies, and if there is any particular topic that you do not see as offered projects, you can also discuss this with your advisors of studies and you can suggest a topic as well for a project. We've had that previously, and if it's at all possible, we will try to accommodate your project. However, there will be a range of different projects available, and supervisors offer more than a single project. And sometimes even on the same topic, we can have multiple students that will be working on one topic. You can also apply for your projects with supervisors from other programs and even in collaboration with other departments as well, which is often the case for our students as well. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I don't know if any of the other academics actually want to add anything in about potentially their programme. Any offers? Dominic, thank you.
Yeah, maybe I could just say a word on the MRes programme, is that we often get asked a question, do we need to come with our own ideas in advance of the programme? And certainly that's not the case. Some students have a very clear idea, they're very focused and they know what type of project they might want to do, but we also encourage our students to interact with staff and find out what type of research is going on when it comes to choosing their research project.
Thank you. Ruedi, did you want to say something there? Sorry.
Okay, yeah, if that's okay, Grant. Yeah, just to add quickly to what Dominic was saying, and it's probably a little bit different from program to program. Normally, the programs are helping by offering some projects which you can choose from. But I think in most programs, it's also possible that if you have your own idea, if you have something you really would like to do, and it is feasible to do, that you can also follow that route, that you can bring a project you really would like to do, and that's going to be accommodated. And that's usually set up and organized over the first 2 terms, where the total terms is. So you're ready for the third term when the project is, that you're ready to start with that.
And Grant, sorry, did you have something you wanted to add?
Yeah, just to add, I think for the conservation management of African ecosystems, quite often people who are coming into this program have had experience working with other NGOs or other organizations. And I think we also encourage people to maintain those links and those networks, and to work on data sets or questions that they are coming with from other organizations as well. So it's really an opportunity, I would say, to interact a little bit more widely professionally with other people in the area.
Is that everybody? Anybody else want to throw anything in there? Roman, I don't know if you've got anything you want to add.
Yeah, so hi, for the quantitative methods in biodiversity conservation and epidemiology, well, as I think has been explained, there's the list of potential projects that we're maintaining and that we're putting out there as suggestions. But yeah, we're equally supportive of students bringing their own idea and trying to accommodate that. There's no guarantee that we can, but we're always willing to have a discussion about what's feasible, in a 3-month summer project. So yeah, definitely open for a variety of options there to make sure that the students end up with a project they really like.
Thank you. I've just noticed in our Q&A box, a question's popped in here. I don't know if we could answer that just now, just because it's kind of related. How do students go about research outside Scotland, for example, in Africa? Is that possible? Katarina, thank you.
Yeah, so perhaps I can answer for MSc IDAR. So it is possible, however, indirectly. So we do not have students that would travel to Africa, but we've got different data sets, for example, or samples that come from especially East African countries like Tanzania. We've got some data sets from Uganda. So it depends on the supervisor. The project time is not that long so that we could send the student to Africa. However, they can work with data sets through their supervisors, and they can collaborate with colleagues over there. It all depends on the supervisor. I guess it would be similar for other programs as well.
Yeah, maybe I'll jump in there. Completely echoing Katarina's advice. I think the actual program itself, or the research component of your MSc, it lasts for about 3.5 months. So it doesn't really give you sufficient time to go to the field and collect data and come back and analyze that data and write it up. But what we do have are networks with other people and data sets from African ecosystems to analyze. And I suppose in some ways, again, it does provide you with sort of that network of people that, post-masters, after your master's, you can go on to work in those systems.
Thank you. Dominic, I see that you've got something there to add.
Yeah, just to follow up on that, what's specific to the MRes, the Master in Research, is that we have a longer period of time for research to take place. So we have a approximately 8-month research component, which is 2/3 of your degree. So for this one particular program, there are opportunities for students to go abroad in their studies, because there is a longer period of time to be able to plan that. And for example, we have one student on the MRes currently in Mozambique, We have another student out in the rainforest in Borneo, and we also have another student working in Austria for a couple of months for the research project. So yeah, there is scope. It does take a bit more planning, as you can imagine, but it's certainly every year we do have 2 or 3 students on the program who will travel out with the UK.
Great, thank you. I think, is that everything kind of covered on that one? Anything else MJ's like to add in? Well, good. Perfect. So our next question is, besides the regular courseworks, would I have the opportunity to be involved in the research and activities of associated departments? I don't know if MJ wants to volunteer for that one.
I can maybe start with that.
Thank you.
And it depends probably obviously on your program, but as we just discussed in a sense, is that you want to get early on proactive to secure your project. And through your project, you will work within a research team and get that experience. But when you are early proactive, you might sort of integrate yourself earlier into that research group. And I'm sure all sort of project providers will be more than happy to give you that opportunity. But the idea is that your project is embedded in the research which is going on, not that you're doing something on your own and you're completely separate from the research community here.
Great, thank you. Anyone else want to add anything to that one? Yeah, Katarina, thank you.
Yeah, I would just add to that. So it depends on the workload as well, because some of the courses have, at least that's what our students say, sometimes they might have, or they might perceive it as a bigger workload. However, having said that, we have had students who were involved in laboratory work or data analysis work with different groups, different research groups here. So it is possible, and it is also possible just to shadow some researchers and just come and see, for example, laboratories or set up meetings. It really depends on the nature of what you would like to do and what kind of experience you would like to gain.
Thank you. Anybody else like Roman, that yourself? Thank you.
Yeah, I'm just to second what Katarina there said about, you have to be realistic about how much time there really is in parallel to the coursework, but that depends on the student maybe. But also just in general to emphasize that we really want the master students to sort of become part of our research community, and that is very much the ethos in the institute, is that you're invited to the seminars and to join. We have things called shared interest groups, and we have sort of weekly meetings, like journal clubs and things like that. We really want the master students to feel part of that and to choose the things that they're interested in and to engage with that. So that's sort of in addition to, maybe in relation to your project, you might be linked to a particular research group and join their lab meetings, for example, for some time before you actually start on the project. But there are these other activities also that allow you to maybe get a slightly broader perspective on a research interest that you might have. So we definitely encourage that to the extent that you can fit that in next to obviously what is quite a busy schedule with the coursework.
Great, thank you. Actually, Roman, coming back to you, we had a question at the start, but you hadn't quite joined yet. Someone had asked, what kind of computer do I need for MSc quantitative methods?
Yeah, so there's no specific computer requirements. I mean, if it's a modern sort of computer that has sort of up-to-date software and specifications, then that should be fine. There's nothing specific required for this course. If it's heavy computational jobs, then they generally send somewhere else. We don't expect students necessarily to use their own machines for those. So it should be fine. But if they have any particular questions, they can get in touch.
Great, thank you. Could you please give any advice for international students who want to work in relevant fields in the UK after graduation? Sorry,
before we go there, I think, Louise, did you have something you wanted to add on that one?
Sorry, Louise.
just a small comment that if somebody's still deciding what laptop to purchase, getting one with a bigger screen rather than a smaller screen is really helpful, because sometimes you're juggling, a script with a statistical analysis, and then you've got some PowerPoints up, and then you've got a worksheet, and often all of these things you want on a screen at once. So bigger screen rather than smaller is helpful if you have the option.
Great, thank you. So sorry, our next question. Could you please give any advice for international students who want to work in relevant fields in the UK after graduation? Any volunteers? Grant, is that yourself going for your unmute button?
I can give it a go.
Thank you.
Well, there's a few things I think to be aware of. I mean, there's obviously visa issues for working in the UK, and there are quite a few restrictions in that. I know that the UK government has been changing their visa requirements for working in the UK after, particularly if you're graduating with high marks from certain academic institutions. That there's this sort of a particular visa class for that. The other ways in getting work permits for the UK would be ancestry visas. Obviously, if you have a specific job that you have applied for, then you can organize work visas through that as well. But I would say the coming into the UK on a student visa actually precludes you from working in the UK. So you would need to change from a student visa to something else afterwards. I suppose that's about the only advice that I could offer. I don't know if other people have experience with this, or more experience than I do.
If I can add to that, so some of our former students, international students, stayed on and are working in Scotland or in the UK. And as Grant said, it depends on the visa, it depends where you are coming from, and there will be different agreements between countries, whether they are Commonwealth countries or other countries. I have a different passport. I don't have a British passport, and I work in this country, so it really depends on where you are coming from and what is the nature of your visa.
Thank you. I don't know if anybody else wants to add anything in, or if we're quite happy with that one, we can move on to the next question. Yeah, next question. So is there anything we can do to prepare for the programme? And we'll open that up to just everybody for all programmes. Any volunteers? Roman, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so in the first semester, we're starting with a course called Key Research Skills, and that's like a combination of scientific communication, statistics, and learning how to work with the software R and the language R. If you've never heard of R before, then I think if you look for online resources and sort of self-taught training courses, that can make the first steps a little bit easier. I mean, we start from scratch. We don't assume anyone has any prior knowledge, but if you've never done any command line programming or anything like that, or a computer language, then you might find it easier to familiarize yourself with that a little bit. And we can definitely make some recommendations for places to start with that. The other advice I would give is that sometimes we have people joining from non-biological backgrounds, and obviously then there's a bit more of a learning curve in terms of the content, what we're talking about here. So to read around the type of research that we do in the Institute, and to make sure that you have a basic understanding of these subject areas, maybe read some introductory textbooks around that. If you come across terms on our website, for example, if you're not familiar with, then try to read up on those. That would be my other piece of advice, especially if you don't have a first degree in the biological sciences.
Thank you. Dominic, and then we'll come to yourself, Louise.
Yeah, just to add in a comment about the kind of preparation in terms of developing your research interests. So all the MSc and MRes programs are obviously going to give you a lot of new skills and experience in research methods. So I think it's sometimes useful in advance to start thinking about what types of skills you might be interested in learning if you're thinking about a kind of future career, and that might help to guide you towards choosing, you know, a particular research project. So I would say if you have already done a degree in biology or in environmental science, then, you know, look around your subject and just investigate some of the kind of latest methodologies and the hot topics within your own interests, and that might just help you to start thinking about you know, what you're going to choose in the degree for your research project.
Thank you, Eloise.
I just wanted to add that it's also important to arrive rested. It's going to be a really busy year, so don't exhaust yourself over the summer with, you know, lots of additional work. You know, we do start from scratch with key research skills, as Roman said. So, you know, arrive refreshed if you possibly can.
Top tip. Ruedi?
Maybe just to add a little bit to what Roman said, if you don't have a biological background, if you come to a program which might be a little bit of a shift on it, and you have time, in addition to recover and come recovered to the program, you can always email the program directors if they have some recommendation for specific reading list. So we have a little reading list for the animal welfare science program. And depending on where you're coming, there might be certain things you might want to, if you have time, to read up before you're coming, but there's nothing is compulsory or anything you have to do. Everything is provided during the program, but especially if you come from a different background, you might want, and you want to get your head around and you have time, you can always ask for some recommendation, what with a little bit of time you could best do to prepare yourself.
Thank you. Katarina?
Thank you. I was just going to add just a little thing there. Just as Ruedi said, you can ask the program coordinator or the course coordinator, even better. You will have your advisor of studies, ask them as well. And also, for example, for some of our MSc IDAR courses, we do have, it's a bit heavy on genetics and genomics in one of the courses. However, we expect students to come from different backgrounds. So we give them initially an overview, the biological overview, and also recommend the literature. And just as was already mentioned, there are reading lists or literature can be recommended. But if you have any doubts, just get in touch with the course coordinators.
Thank you. Anybody else want to add anything to that? I think we've all had a shot. Yeah, perfect. Dominic, this is one for you. Are there any opportunities to explore marine aquatic ecology in this programme?
Yes, on the MRes there are lots and lots of opportunities for aquatic projects, both in marine and freshwater, and it's certainly a great strength of, or one of the strengths of the institute of that you'll be joining, that has a number of really active research groups, both in marine and freshwater systems. So currently we have a number of projects, both in Scotland and in marine systems. We have one of the MRes projects working off the west coast of Scotland on an otake zone and looking at marine biodiversity. We also have a more tropical ecology marine biological project, and in previous years we've had lots of tracking studies on marine fish and freshwater fish as well. So yeah, plenty scope to do aquatic ecology here.
Great, thank you. I'm just cautious of the time, so we've got a question that's in our Q&A chat box here. Joe, actually, I think is it yourself that's getting to that one. I don't know if you want to just answer that on the call. So what kind of data programs do we have to be proficient in for MSc epidemiology of infectious diseases and antimicrobial resistance?
Sure, I can send my typed version as well, but I was just going to say that we use R for the analyses that we teach you in the courses on IDAR, but you will be taught R when you start in the key research skills at the beginning of the course. So it is not expected that you know how to use that when you start. We take people from a range of backgrounds, and so that training is provided as part of the program. I think hopefully that covers it.
Thank you. I think that's all our questions should be answered that came through our Q&A and mainly in our chat box. If you have had any questions that are specific to your sort of application, funding, scholarships, etc., I would point you in the direction of the links that have been posted in the chat box there. The admissions team and scholarships team will be much better placed to answer any of those queries than what we are. I think if there's anything else that wants to be added, I think there's probably a good sort of place just to wrap up the session so that we're finished for the 12 o'clock. But one thing I will add is that there is an additional session being held on the 17th of June, Friday, I believe, 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, that's British summertime. I'll pop the details in the chat for you. They also were included in the reminder email that went out on Friday for this session. So if there's any additional questions or that you have, please join that session. And I believe there's some current students that will be joining that session too, so you can hear all about their experiences as well. But yeah, thanks everybody for taking the time to join us, and thanks to our academics. We really do hope to see you all very soon, but in the meantime, please do take care of yourselves and keep well, and we'll see you soon. And this recording link will be sent in a couple of days' time for you, just to recap on anything that's been discussed. So yeah, thanks very much, and we'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.